everybody. Welcome back to TV Show in Space. TV Show, in space, ! I am your host, Lieutenant Commander Rebecca Frost, joined by Admiral Kerry Jackson, Commander Robert Neal, and once again, what title did I give you, Jake? What title do you want?
I don't think we've ever formalized that.
Trexpert.
Trexpert? All right, sure.
Welcome back.
Yeah. That's probably trademarked somewhere, so maybe.
Yeah,
everything's trademarked.
What's the worst that can happen? We get a cease and desist?
Yeah, no, just change it again. It's fine.
Trek Expert. Let's add an extra inf in there,
Asterisk. I cannot wait for you guys to see Thunderbolts, but that's another conversation. We're here to talk about some Star Trek, and in this batch of episodes, we're talking about Inheritance, Parallels, the Pegasus, and Homeward, featuring Jake Black's favorite Star Trek episode.
Wow. Out of 900, sure is.
That's insane. That's, but
I will quote the DM you sent me, which said, "I can see why this is your jam."
I did. As soon as I finished it, I messaged Jake and I was like, yes, this makes a lot of sense that you would like it this much. But let's dive on in, as they say on American Dad, and start with Inheritance. On Federation planet Atreya 4, Data encounters the former wife of his creator, Noonien Singh, who claims to be his mother. This episode pissed me off, you guys.
Oh, I was starting, when it started, I was hating it. And then I went, oh no, wait a second. Okay. And then the twist happened and I went, yes, I remember now. Okay.
Yeah, the exact same thing for me, Carrie. When we meet Juliana Tainer, she was pissing me off so bad. But let's get into it. Helping Atreya 4 to deal with its planet's core, heating it up by phaser beam, thereby get it spinning again and generating a magnetic field, the Enterprise hosts its top geology doctors, Pran Tainer and Juliana Tainer. Juliana is a human living on Atreya 4, and Data speculates that with phaser beams and controlled plasma induction units, it should be possible to bring the core temperature to 93% of normal, and the core would remain molten for centuries. She claims to have assisted Dr. Noonien Singh as his secret wife, creating Data and his childhood, after which his memory was wiped. I don't like.
Thank the maker.
Data has difficulties verifying her story, as he should, because according to her, she married Dr. Singh in secret and due to her mother, who didn't approve of Dr. Singh. Also, there were two witnesses, a Klingon and a Corvellan traitor, but the logs Data found on the colony had no record of her ever being married to him, and Data has to deal with her maternal emotions. Juliana is sad to find that Dr. Singh is dead, and she says that she left Singh as he was too engrossed in his work and they didn't have a life together. Well, now Data's confused because Papa has never mentioned a mama before, and while some of the facts that she has mentioned are found to be correct, he cannot find any records of them ever being married, but he finds their names on a passenger manifest on a ship that Juliana claimed they took to travel to the planet that they got married on. So things are maybe checking out a little bit.
Starting to take that road, yeah.
Data, here's where I'm starting to get pissed off. Data decides to indulge Juliana, who reveals secrets such as a sexuality program within Data. Why would you do that? Also, she recites stories that he was downright rude in his first iteration and required a modesty sub-program to convince him to wear clothes. We all have moms, right? And we've all fell victim to, don't you remember how you used to just run around naked all the time? Isn't that silly to all of your friends? And that's what she's doing here. And this is where I was getting real pissed off with Juliana.
I think I was a never nude, but anyway, do go on.
Carrie came out of the womb wearing jorts.
That's right.
Juliana is distressed to know that Data tried to create an android daughter, Lal. She reveals that prior to Data and Lore, Noonien had 3 other androids. Lore was cruel and evil and hence was dismantled, and Dr. Singh decided to create Data after Lore failed, and Juliana was against it. She also reveals that when Noonien and Juliana escaped from Omicron Theta before the crystalline entity attacked, There was enough room in the escape pods, but they left Data behind intentionally, and they meant for him to die. She made Dr. Soong leave him behind as she feared he may turn out like Lore. Hey, that sucks to learn.
Well, you both came out of the same
Mm-hmm.
womb, I suppose. I don't know.
The same metallic womb.
Yeah.
Data and Juliana set up plasma induction units in the magma caves they drilled into on the surface of the planet, but there's increased seismic activity on the planet and the caves become unstable. A rock falls on Juliana and severs her arm, which Data finds to be an android arm. Juliana, Mama Data, is an android, but everything about her is designed to fool one into thinking that she is human. Data finds an information chip inside her and plugs that into the holodeck to find Dr. Noonien Soong, Brent Spiner, returning as Dr. Noonien Soong. And he reveals that he created Juliana after Data. She was modeled after the real Juliana, whom he was married to and was Data's mother. The real Juliana died after she was injured by the crystalline entity on Omicron Theta. Devastating. And the android Juliana doesn't know that she's an android and is designed to shut down if she discovers. She is programmed to age like a normal human and will die after a long life. And Dr. Soong wants Data to let her live out her days. So now Data has a fun ethical and moral dilemma he's facing. He takes it to
pull
Picard.
the plug, as it were? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he takes it to Picard, and he convenes the crew, the main cast of characters, and Data wants to tell her, as then he won't be alone anymore. But Deanna says that Juliana has always been living as a human and that she should continue this way. So there are, does Data be selfish and tell his mother that she is an android and dreaming of electric sheep, or does he let her live on her merry way?
Well, the bigger question is if he lets her live on her merry way, is what happens when she finds out on her own. Well, I guess she would shut down, so it wouldn't be an issue.
Mm-hmm. But also, how would she find out on her own? I guess if her arm gets ripped off again?
Yeah.
My question in this sequence is, how did you not know, Troy?
And
that's why we have Jake Black, ladies and
the
gentlemen.
Trexpert. But also, Geordi can sense an aura around Data. Why no sense aura around Mama?
Well,
Jake, answer that.
Geordi's been through some things too in the last couple of weeks, and I think after losing his mother, he maybe didn't want to go down that road for Data.
And what about the transporter technician when he gets his readouts?
A lot of questions.
Say, wait, only one human came up instead of two, or something like that.
There should have been a positronic signal from the brain as well.
I guess, yeah.
I just am trying to get you to hate this episode more, Rebecca.
I mean, I was disliking her so much. There is some trivia. Okay, Data decides not to tell her. End of episode. But in the trivia on IMDb, in Heart of Glory from 1988, it is shown that Geordi can see some sort of halo or aura around Data through his visor. And while at that point he'd not yet seen another android to confirm the hypothesis, has Geordi never encountered Lore?
No, he did.
He did.
Okay.
Yeah. So that doesn't work.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It can be assumed that the advanced technology in Juliana also causes the android halo not to be visible. I don't know. I don't know about that, you guys.
You buy the premise, you buy the bit. I mean,
I hate when that happens, though.
I know.
So the woman who plays Juliana, Finola Flanagan, is an accomplished violinist in real life and performed her own viola playing at the ship's concert. She learned to play the viola while rehearsing the scene, spending a lot of time learning those 6 to 8 bars of music in order to make it convincing for camera.
Now, see, that's interesting to me because when I was watching it, it's one of my pet peeves on TV shows is one, obvious actors who have never played that instrument before. And we see it a lot in Star Trek especially. But also people with coffee cups that don't seem to convey any weight. You know,
Yeah.
they're obviously empty coffee cups, you know, from Starbucks. You're an actor. Convey weight with that, would you please?
Yeah.
But she was very good, and I thought to myself, she nailed it. If she doesn't play, but now I know she plays.
Well, now we know. This is also the final appearance of Brent Spiner as Dr. Noonien Soong.
Oh.
And as Geordi and Dr. Crusher are examining Juliana, Geordi remarks that she ages in appearance like Data, and this is the first mention of Data's physical appearance being able to age, and was likely introduced as a means of explaining why Brent Spiner looked somewhat older in Data by the 7th season. Commander Riker reacts to this line by looking at Data with some surprise, as if he hadn't noticed his aging.
This is a follow-up, too, from the episode Birthright in season 6, where Dr. Bashir says to Data, or asks Data, does your hair grow?
Oh,
yeah. And, you know, Data kind of explains, yes, it does. And it just kind of is part and parcel of the same thing, I think.
Do you bleed?
Well, I mean, I thought it was a reasonably satisfying episode. It was a nice one-er, you know?
Yeah, it's, you know, whatever. It was whatever.
It was all right.
So I do have a question for you, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Has there been an encounter with Noonien Soong that you have liked? Or any of the Soong family?
Oh, gosh. Probably not. I think that man is annoying as hell.
All right. I was just curious because, you know, I came late.
You're not wrong.
So.
Yeah. I am trying to think back on other Noonien Soong instances, and I think he, like Neil deGrasse Tyson, drives me nuts.
And Stephen Hawking.
And Stephen Hawking, which, by the way, I am justified. I don't know if you saw Neil deGrasse Tyson's post this week where he's got 4 separate red hats, one of them an actual MAGA hat, and is like, a red hat's a red hat. Which one do I wear? It's fine.
It was, they said things like, make America smart again, you know.
But one of them was a MAGA hat.
Oh yeah, when Trump started running the first time, somebody suggested that we should get hats that look like that say something funny, and I said no, that's a Klan hood. I'm sorry, we're not going to do that. You know?
We're not going to wear an ironic Klan hood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Rob.
Let's move on to Jake Black's favorite episode, Parallels.
Oh, now I can't wait.
Out of all 900 of them, that
I thought
is
for sure
absolute fact.
would be the one, but
And this episode, well, I guess
we'll talk about Sub Rosa in a minute after Kerry, because I got some news for you.
Oh, okay.
Parallels. On his return from a Batleth competition in the Klingon Empire, Worf finds himself shifting realities where events and details are in a constant state of flux, and only he is aware of the changes. Lieutenant Worf proudly returns by shuttle from a holiday in the Klingon Empire as the winner of a Batleth tournament. However, back on the Enterprise, nothing is normal and everything keeps changing repeatedly, and he is convinced it is not his memory. It's his birthday party, and at first the cake was chocolate, but suddenly it changed to butterscotch. Picard couldn't attend, but then Picard was there. Data gifted Worf a painting, which Deanna hung on Worf's cabin wall. Okay, first of all, don't just go hanging up art in someone's room. First of all, maybe that's not where he wanted it, Deanna.
Well,
the direction of this episode, though, that was her first pass. That's her first pass.
Yeah. As I was watching this whole sequence, I was just like, so this is dementia, and this is what's lying ahead for me.
Don't put that on me, Ricky Bobby. The Enterprise is on its way to fix the Argus array again, as it has stopped transmitting. This is the 3rd time in a year that the array has stopped transmitting data. Starfleet Command suspects sabotage the Namir malfunction. Once there, they find that the array is transmitting, but not to the Federation, but to a different location.
Listen, this was a very expensive model. We're going to use it at least 3 times, okay?
We have to get our money's worth. The array was reprogrammed to spy on Federation sites. Riker and Data are on the away team that download all the activity logs from the array, and logs show a Cardassian ship approaching the array 6 days ago. Coming up in a future episode, I cannot believe I'm going to say this, but I'm coming around on Cardassians. Which I know I have to.
You do.
I'm just saying it's happening. Worf, in a very serious conversation with our friend Deanna, formally asks her to become Alexander's surrogate mother and Worf's stepsister. Worf briefly reconsiders when Deanna points out that the arrangement would make Lwaxana his stepmother. And Worf has increasing bouts of dizziness. Suddenly he finds that he didn't win the Bat'leth tournament, and the trophy says 9th place. Later, Picard, Riker, and Data say that there are no logs that show the Cardassians tempered with the array. And when a Cardassian ship approaches, Picard exchanges pleasantries with Gul Nador and tells him that the array is used for scientific purposes only. And every time Worf feels dizzy, his reality changes. He finds himself promoted to an XO and married to Deanna with 2 children, not Alexander. And he's also unable to work the command console during a battle with the Cardassians, a situation that never took place, even their empire is taken over.
Again, welcome to my dementia. I'm going to go into work and the buttons will be moved and I won't be able to do a goddamn thing for... Yeah.
Yeah, very, very scary. I have an album for you, Carrie. It'll scare you even further.
Well, I won't talk about how that is exactly what happened to my mom, but we'll let that rest.
Oh, it's going to happen to me.
Yeah.
Do your brain exercises, Carrie.
But can we talk about what happened to Worf's expression when he discovers that he's in a relationship with Deanna, but doesn't recognize it at first?
Yeah, so he goes into his quarters, and
The whole
there's flowers
lean through the door.
There's a flower, and doesn't Deanna just walk in instead of she just walks in, and she's like, "Oh my God, you're so stressed," and she takes out his ponytail and starts rubbing his shoulders, and Worf is very, very confused.
This is very inappropriate.
Listen, therapist, boundaries.
Yes.
So Data and Riker, who is now captain since Picard died during the Borg incident, scan for the area where Worf came via shuttle after his Bat'leth tournament. They find a quantum singularity, a meeting point of all universes where all possibilities can exist and do exist. When Worf passed through it, he went into a state of quantum flux, and every time he came near Geordi's visor, it triggered him moving between those quantum universes, leading to dizziness.
I love the premise. I really do. I love the premise of this show. Now, I know it's your favorite episode of Next Generation, right, Jake?
Of all Star Trek.
All Star Trek.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Because this is not my favorite Next Gen episode, but it is my favorite Worf Next Gen episode.
This is a fantastic Worf episode. We'll get there. Yeah. This spells huge potential consequences, not just for Worf, but for the whole ship, and even much more. Wesley Crusher suggests tracking Worf's quantum signature and match it with the right universe to send him back, because I love a surprise Wesley appearance.
Mm-hmm. And
Security Chief Wesley Crusher, no less.
And it's like no big deal. It's not like a big
just there
reveal with music or anything. He's just there. He's just doing his thing, which was smart TV making.
While Wesley studies the quantum singularity, it starts to break down, and all other enterprises from other universes start to materialize in the current universe. Data speculates that by sending their Worf in the original shuttle back through the quantum singularity and emitting a broad spectrum pulse would restore the quantum barriers and send all enterprises back to their universes. So Riker sends out Worf's quantum signature to all ships, and one responds. They also agree to send the original shuttle to this enterprise. As Worf prepares, one of the other enterprises fires on it. They say that they don't want to go back to their universe, as the Borg have taken over, and they are the last ship left. The Enterprise from the current universe shoots on the Enterprise from the Borg universe, and it explodes. Worf goes back through the fissure. All is well again. He won the Bat'leth tournament. This episode rocks.
Brigham Riker, by the way, on that Borg ship. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's going through it.
Yeah.
I don't want to go back. God.
And I loved Riker on this, when Captain is this Enterprise, when he sees Picard, and he's just like, "Hey, good to see you, man." Like, it's just a captain handling multiple universes and parallel realities very well. which you love to see.
So here's why I love it.
Yeah, tell me.
First of all, Worf was my favorite until my best friend Jolene pointed out that he's a whiny bitch.
Well,
and he's a little bit that when he's like, 9th place. No. But I had, of course, known about the multiverse from Mirror Mirror and Crisis on Infinite Earths. Mm-hmm. But I'd never seen it portrayed like this. It gave me such a fascination with that idea of quantum physics and multiple realities, and how every decision that everyone makes, there's a reality where that didn't happen or where the other choice was made. And I think I was like 14 probably when this episode aired. And for the subsequent 32 years, I've been obsessed with the multiverse. Now, you can argue it's been overdone now. But then,
one might say,
this was revolutionary.
Well, yeah. And, it was also, because I talk about my restraint with the filmmakers, with Wesley Crusher, and not doing a soap opera-esque, camera pull in and music, da-da-da, go to commercial thing. It had to have been tempting for them to put in the ISS Enterprise, right? It had to have been tempting to do that. I would have done it because I'm that kind of nerd. But these guys were smart. It would have been a distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is, like you said earlier, I love this Worf episode. I am very sad it took until the 7th season to get a good Worf episode, but hey, I'm glad we have it. I also never in 80 bajillion years would have been like, oh yeah, I gotta see what's up with Worf and Deanna. But as soon as this episode ended, I got the Imzadi 2 triangle book.
And see, and I was going to say that this was in our private chat that Rebecca sent a message to everybody saying, I didn't think that I wanted a Worf Deanna romance episode, but well, I was wrong.
And then I got that book. It's less than 3 hours long. I listened to it in a day. And I also really like his and Deanna's relationship in this, with the Deanna from the universe in which they're married, because original universe Worf is like, okay, well, I'm going to go back to my ship now. And Deanna is like, well, that sucks, but I understand, but I am going to be very sad that you are gone.
I'm sorry, but your Worf is dead.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's not. I don't know.
Do you think that every Worf got back where they were supposed to be? Or do you think maybe there's one or two that just didn't quite get to the right ship? Because that sure seems like a lot of infinity for that one little shuttle to reorient and,
Well, there's a story you need to write, sir.
Yeah. Did you reference this? Did you reference this episode when you were interviewing to do Rick and Morty comics?
I did not. No. No.
Well,
because ironically enough, the multiverse of Rick and Morty is so buried in the back of my mind that when they remind us that, they're an amalgam of different universes in that core family, I'm like, oh yeah.
No, I'm the same way.
It just be like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't say his age in this episode, but according to Star Trek Fact Files, Worf turns 30 in this episode. Oh,
that's a hard 30, man.
That's a hard 30.
I'll say. So, yeah.
Well, the revolutions around the sun for Kronos might be completely different, and he ages like Data, maybe.
Could be. We don't know how Klingons age. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. It's just rough to hear when I turned 36 the same week, I don't know. What else do you want to say about this episode? I don't want to move on from it too fast.
I just want to say this for you, Rebecca, mostly,
Mm-hmm.
that this Worf is who we see in DS9.
Okay.
And that's why I love DS9 Worf so much.
Yes, absolutely.
And I didn't know this, but the Imzadi 2 Triangle book does open with Worf holding a dying Jadzia.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, okay. I did not know that. But that's something to look forward to, I suppose.
Yes and no.
No.
Well, you'll see. You'll see.
So much to come to fruition.
I can see why you enjoy this episode so much, Jake. It is really good.
Yeah, it is literally, I finished the episode and messaged him and I was like, yes, this makes a lot of sense as to who you are as a person.
Because when you hear talk about, best next gen episodes, I don't hear this one come up that often.
Right.
That's crazy because
it is. Yeah.
This, I think, is probably one of my favorite episodes that I've seen so far. Like, this episode rips.
And you only have like 15 to go, so.
Yeah, we're so close to the end. I'm gonna miss.
I'm looking to see if it won any awards or anything like that. But
while you're checking that, Carrie, I will say that in the official Star Trek: The Next Generation coloring book, there's a tremendous page from this episode that you can color. It's when Worf is on the shuttle. It's when Worf's on the shuttle and there's the 17 Worfs all doing their thing on the shuttle. It's great.
What shade of yellow do you use for data on that? Is it a nice lemon yellow or?
One of the datas has blue eyes and not yellow eyes.
Blue-eyed Data. I'm writing a song now. Let's see. The AV Club gave it a grade of A-. Nicely balanced, they said. Good chemistry
the featured review on IMDb says not great, which is incorrect.
I was gonna say fuck those people. In 2015, Hollywood Reporter it said one of the most top 10 stunning moments was the frightened Riker.
Yeah.
Let's see. 9th best time travel episode in Star Trek, according to the Hollywood Reporter.
Is it time travel though? Well, I guess it does at the end since he ends up where he started.
Yeah,
but...
yeah. Anyway, yeah, it should be on those lists of top episodes. It really should be.
And also, I just love. So at the beginning of the episode, when Worf is like, "There's a surprise party for me in there," and Riker's like, "I don't know what you're talking about," and there is a surprise party. That was very funny. But I loved at the end of the episode when Worf is hesitant to go into his room, and it's his friends. To be loved is to be known, and his friends give him the type of celebration that I think he would want. Just thought that was really nice.
Did we bring the pain sticks?
But what about those laser streamers? Those laser streamers, you got to admit, are pretty cool when they say surprise.
Yeah. And I would like Riker to put a little party hat on me too. That would be nice.
The moment that birthed 1,000 gifts, that right there.
Indeed.
But also getting, I appreciate getting to stretch Michael Dorn a bit, other than just grumpy Worf, moody Worf, mopey Worf, but all in one episode. And I think that this is
the episode where I could see the potential of Michael Dorn there.
Yeah, he gets the whole gamut, right? Like he does pride, excitement, dread, confused. Like he does get to run the whole spectrum of emotions in this episode. That was very lovely to see.
Unfortunate that they waited until the last season to do that, but there you go.
Feeling that way about a lot of episodes. Well, let's move to the Pegasus with my friend Terry O'Quinn. Riker finds out that his former commander from the starship Pegasus has orders that entail more than what is revealed to Picard, who thinks the Enterprise is en route to recover the lost ship, and Riker is ordered to secrecy. there's one thing about Terry O'Quinn. He's going to be a secretive guy.
Whenever he shows up, you know it.
You know he's going to have secrets. He's going to tell you we have to go back and you have to keep it a secret. So Picard quickly escapes, starring as a role model in the school's annual Captain Picard Day. You guys.
The date on that, by the way, is June 16th. So
okay, so everybody
June 16th. Every June 16th, if you go to StarTrek.com,
it's
pop it in your calendars.
Yep.
Captain Picard Day. Responding to a top secret assignment from Admiral Eric Pressman, played by Terry O'Quinn. Pressman was once Will Riker's captain aboard the starship Pegasus, and Pressman is now working for Starfleet Intelligent Wing. The Pegasus was lost 12 years ago and presumed destroyed by a warp core breach. Once again with these warp cores. But it is in fact still in existence. The ship was supposed to have been lost in an explosion, but 3 days ago Starfleet got a message from their spy in Romulan High Command that Romulans have found a piece of debris from the ship and have ordered to find others. The mission is to get to the ship before the Romulans, who do have a 3-day head start, and prevent the Enterprise-type technology falling into enemy hands. You're telling me the Romulans don't already have Federation technology?
But more.
They may have a little bit.
I mean,
but
you know.
Pegasus was a prototype on which today's generation of starships are based. So Commander Sirol is already at the debris site with his Romulan ship, and Sirol says that the Romulans are studying gaseous anomalies in the asteroid system. Only Will Riker is told by Pressman of their real mission, to retrieve the computer code and repeat the secret experiment that started the fatal cloaking accident. Pressman says that what they are doing was for the good of the Federation. He says that the Enterprise computers have coded orders for Riker to repeat the experiment once the cloaking device is retrieved. Riker is ordered not to reveal anything to anyone, including Picard. My gossipy ass would have gone to Picard immediately.
Once again, Troy, how did you not know?
She's not a mind reader.
Well, yeah, she is.
For his.
She's an empath. She's an empath.
Oh, okay. All right.
She's not a mind reader. She doesn't.
But still, she would have recognized Riker's keeping something from all of us, folks.
That's true.
She didn't have to be an empath to figure that out, given their history.
Because you've seen her before. I said sphere and things like that. So yeah, Jake's right.
And also, I love how when the Romulan commander's like, we're studying gaseous anomalies, and Picard's like, hey, so are we.
Ironic.
I didn't need no empath to know he was full of shit.
You guys are relying. The plot armor. Let the plot armor exist.
Also, the gaseous anomalies.
Say that again.
I was just going to say the gaseous.
Was that.
You're up, Rob. I will keep my mouth shut.
Rob, go.
My problem with the Romulan commander was that I kept looking at him, and all I could see was Kenan Thompson from Saturday Night Live with a bad Romulan.
Yes.
Nice.
And I was just going to say, gaseous anomalies. I had to have been a reference to Star Trek VI, because that's where that movie begins. Is Sulu saying, "We've just spent the last 3 years charting gaseous anomalies."
I like those kind of of weird gas happening out in the galaxy.
Sure
Space
is.
gas.
Oh. It's all like
Nebulae upon nebulae.
So Picard discovers that there was just kidding. Too far. The Enterprise finds the signature of the Pegasus warp core coming from an asteroid. Riker wants to destroy the asteroid, but Pressman wants to salvage the ship. Data suggests hiding the ship by covering it with ionizing radiation, which will look like a natural phenomenon to the Romulans. Picard discovers there was a mutiny aboard the Pegasus, covered up by the intelligence. He found a report by the Judge Advocate General about this mutiny, and it was pretty hard for Picard to get his hands on this report. He confronts Riker, who only reveals that Pressman was conducting tests on his engines. Something went wrong and the warp core exploded with heavy casualties. The crew lost their nerve and mutinied. Riker was 7 months out of the academy and defended his captain. One thing about Riker, especially in this situation, he does respect the chain of command. A few other crews joined them, and they somehow reached the escape pod, and a few moments later, the Pegasus exploded. Riker won't discuss anything more with Picard, and Picard says that if Riker betrays the Enterprise, there will be consequences.
I'm very disappointed in you, Will.
Oh, God, could you imagine hearing that from Picard? Ugh!
Especially after, since like 3 days earlier, he was like, really good to see you again, sir.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
So the Enterprise approaches the ship, and Pressman orders Picard to take the ship inside the asteroid as there is no other way to approach it after the Romulans have left, and finds the ship partially materialized inside the rock. Pressman orders that only he and Riker will transport into the ship. When Pressman and Riker find the experiment inside, Will must make up his mind. He tells Pressman not to restart his experiments and says that he was wrong to defend Pressman 12 years ago. All the people died due to that decision of his. Pressman tells Riker to keep his mouth shut about the experiment and beams back to the Enterprise, where Picard informs them that the Romulans have closed the entrance to the asteroid and sealed them inside. Whoopsies. Riker reveals to Picard that the experiment is a phasing cloak that is specifically prohibited in the peace treaty with the Romulans. The device changes the structure of normal matter and allows one to pass through any physical barrier. Pressman tries to take control of the Enterprise, but gets no support from the crew. I love a moment like this, where a higher ranking official is like, you gotta do what I say, and everyone is like, we don't think so. Let's see. Picard orders to integrate the device with the Enterprise and uses it to pass through the asteroid. Once out, Picard orders to decloak, thereby revealing the cloaking tucked to the Romulans and breaking the peace treaty with them. Yep. Picard arrests Pressman and Riker for violating the peace treaty with the Romulans 12 years ago. Pressman is court-martialed, but Riker is, of course, spared and returns to the Enterprise. Of
course.
There's a little asterisk in his record, though. Picard does point that out. He's like,
true.
You got dinged here, sir.
Well,
yeah, it'll show up on your permanent record.
The conversation between Pressman and Picard, when they were talking about how Picard chose his first officer, and Pressman was like, so you got all these applications, why Riker? And Picard's going through like all of these things, but he actually found the record of Riker telling his captain, you can't beam down here, and being willing to stand his ground against his captain, which we've seen Riker do multiple times before. Like, you can't beam down, that's my job. Or, somebody else can do that. We got red shirts for that. Oh, yes, gold shirts now for that. But, you can see the look on Pressman's face like, all right, I'll give you that. Meh. And it was kind of begrudging. But when I was watching it, it made me wonder, what would have happened if Pressman had come across Thomas Riker?
100% Thomas Riker would have been like, let's do it, let's go.
Right. And it's just like, how would that episode, how would that parallels type episode have gone off? Just a thing.
But you're right, Rob. I did love that conversation where Picard is like, I picked Riker because he's not afraid to stand up to me. He's not afraid to stand up to commanding officers. And we could all be a little bit humble.
But that's another thing from that goes back to Best of Both Worlds, where when Riker was choosing a first officer, everybody's like, it's Data, it's going to be Data. He's like, Shelby. Everybody's like, why? And it was the exact same reason. It was like, because you're not afraid to tell me no, or you're not afraid to challenge my commands. And it's true. And it shows nice continuity in the writing, that they kept that whole thing of Riker, has a certain principle that he follows, and he wants that from his officers or his junior officers as well. So I thought that was a nice touch.
Well, and I think Rob, bringing up the Thomas side of it too, is there's some nice continuity there, because when we met Thomas Riker, he was clearly the Pegasus version of Riker, right? Like he was still that guy. And so for Admiral here, to be like, what, you changed, man.
You used to be cool.
You used to be cool, but you've changed, man.
Now he's Admiral, yeah.
It's because he's expecting Thomas, but he got Will.
Ah, yes.
Very
Very astute observation, sir. Thank you.
Thomas Riker shows up in Imzadi too, and is a pretty crucial plot point there.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
see, I did not know. I did not read Imzadi 2. Oh.
Well, maybe
Oh.
TV show and Space Book Club, Imzadi and Imzadi 2.
Oh.
Does
I
it,
just need
does
to get
it,
the third one.
I'm not even going to ask the question because I don't want to go down that road if it doesn't. So never mind.
Well, now I want to know.
What is it? Is it Prime Thomas Riker, or is it an alternate universe Thomas Riker again?
Jesus Christ, Jake.
See, Rebecca. I literally said.
I know. Well, because Sayla also shows up, and I'm trying to remember
It's getting really awkward now.
It's
Yeah.
not so. So the Romulans have Thomas Riker thinking that it's Will Riker, and so Thomas has to pretend to be Will Riker. And guess who hooks up? Thomas and Sayla.
Oh, really? Hmm.
They have a bit of a mutual understanding
That it never happened.
that they are just in it for the sex.
I like that, Rob. That it never happened, as Tasha said to Data at one time.
Well, as we know, Data has that sexuality program that his mom gave him.
Yeah,
There's
no wonder he wanted to see Sigmund Freud. No wonder. Throwback. All right.
There was a running joke among the cast after The Naked Now that Data had 3 speeds. Just throwing it out there. It's
Stop
100%
this.
true that they joked about that for the rest of. They're probably joking about it still. That cast.
Well, we got to ask him now. We got to ask somebody now.
I care not for this. So LeVar Burton directed this episode, and for whatever reason, the episodes LeVar Burton directs happen to be Riker-centric.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The ship, the Pegasus, is actually a reused model. Again, these models are expensive. We got to use them
Gotta
again.
get our money's worth.
Yeah, it's the USS Grissom from Star Trek III: The Search for Spock.
Oh,
Just with different labels on it.
just different stickers.
Yeah, different decals. Yeah.
The entries for Captain Picard Day were sourced from 2 local elementary schools and the children of property master Alan Sims. Isn't that fun?
That is.
That's awesome.
Can we also really quick just go with like with the Admiral? I can't remember her name. That's giving Picard his marching orders. So
Nechayev?
no, it wasn't Nechayev.
Oh, it wasn't? Okay.
No, but I can't remember who she was. But she's kind of like Captain Picard Day, and he's like, "Oh, I'm something of a role model," and she just has this like,
Yeah.
This guy?
and the look on the deflated look on his face, where she's like, "Sure."
I got the feeling that maybe that they had tequila shots or something like way back in the day.
I just think he
Yeah.
didn't show up for the Admiral dinner and she's still holding a grudge.
That's it. That's the answer right there.
And isn't it fun how Riker has the little Picard doll and does his fun little
His little
Picard
pantomime.
impression?
That does not
Make it
amuse
so.
Picard at all.
This episode finally explains why the Federation doesn't use cloaking devices. Ronald D. Moore stated, "I thought, let's sew this up. Not because it's the last season, but because I'm sick of the question at conventions." He believed that the Federation-Romulan treaty was the best explanation and better than those offered up in the past, such as cloaking device harms humans, it won't work on Federation starships, Starfleet doesn't sneak around, blah, 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 blah. And also the production staff were so impressed with Terry O'Quinn that they considered offering him a guest role on Star Trek Deep Space Nine, but it never happened.
Oh.
Well, he's court-martialed. He can't. He's busy being in prison.
He's just going to show up for an episode or 2, or were they going to make him a regular? Does it say?
Well, no, just they thought about it.
I'm just wondering who they would put him. What role would he take? I'm curious.
I'm sure he would have been one of the admirals in the post season 4 era.
All the war stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah, I was trying to keep it vague.
I'm sorry.
I know.
Rebecca, I really do try. I promise you.
I appreciate you.
Attention,
But now this
Bajoran
raises a question for
workers.
me.
There will be no messages about the war. Sorry.
There's we've got Starfleet intelligence.
Yes.
And they're obviously doing Black Ops stuff.
Yes.
So
Section 31.
Was this their foray into 31?
Wasn't invented yet.
Well,
When
right,
is-
but I'm just saying, it was kind of like the precursor to, hey, we've got this intelligence division that does shady shit.
Yeah.
When is Section 31 invented?
DS9.
DS9.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really? We
Yeah.
get so far into Starfleet history before Section 31?
Because
That's like inventing the CIA now.
well, they retcon it that Section 31's been around the whole time. But the reason for that is because Gene Roddenberry would not have allowed it. And Rick Berman was so adherent to Roddenberry's vision that by the time it's introduced in Deep Space Nine, Berman was just like, oh, fuck it. Let's do what you want, guys.
Roddenberry's dead. We can do what we want.
It's essentially true. Like that, the blindfold mask that Kerry referenced last time was a real thing. Like whenever they were going to go down a road that Roddenberry didn't like, Berman put that mask on the bust of Gene Roddenberry in his office.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Well, let's discuss the last episode of this batch, Homeward. In an attempt to preserve a race of people on a planet being bombarded by storms that would kill them, Worf's foster brother violates the Prime Directive, leaving the Enterprise crew in a difficult position. Another Worf episode. How about that?
But you get Paul Sorvino.
Yeah, and this one was kind of. I'm not a great episode, but I liked the idea that they fucked up so badly that they had to continue the illusion with these people because of the Prime Directive. That was fascinating to me.
So the Enterprise answers a distress call from Worf's foster brother, Dr. Nikolai Rozhenko, played by Paul Sorvino, who is a cultural observer on Boreal 2, about a sudden atmospheric dissipation which may render the planet uninhabitable in 38 hours. Worf volunteers to go down to the surface to assess the situation, and Picard is very clear about not breaking Prime Directive. Don't you dare break the Prime Directive. Worf is even surgically altered to look like a Bolaran. And there he meets Nikolai, who it seems has sheltered many locals in his observation post by setting up a disruptor shield to keep some of the atmosphere inside and allowing some people to survive. Nikolai has always been a rule breaker. He was accepted to Starfleet Academy, but left after 1 year. This is a very fascinating insight into nature versus nurture when it comes to Nikolai and Worf. The Bolaran culture is very primitive and have no contact with technology. Worf is furious that Nikolai has already violated the Prime Directive, but Nikolai says that he was not willing to let the natives die due to the atmospheric dissipation. Nikolai and Worf beam back up to the ship, hiding this from the Bolarans, and there Nikolai argues with Picard to set up an atmospheric shield for at least one village to survive. Picard is adamant about not violating the Prime Directive. I've done it enough times. I cannot risk doing it again. And Nikolai can't persuade him to change his mind. Nikolai takes permission from the captain to upload his data from his post on the planet back to the Enterprise, and Picard grants permission. In Nikolai's failed attempt to stop the apocalyptic phenomenon and save the primitive culture, he broke the Prime Directive of non-intervention in natural development. Worf is furious to discover that Nikolai has secretly transported a village to their simulation of caves inside the holodeck. The village was sleeping. It's a so terrible dream. The village was sleeping during the transportation and they never suspected a thing. Picard grudgingly accepts his plan to transport them to a comparable M-class planet as their new home. Nikolai will tell the Bolarans that they are going on a journey to find a new safe place. The scenery in the holodeck will be changed gradually and eventually match the scenery of the new planet. And they will be beamed down when asleep. No one would ever know that they even left Baral.
Swear. I swear.
Okay. I had a question I didn't think about until now. Apparently the Prime Directive is a Starfleet directive, not a Federation directive. And at this point, you've got to separate those two, because the Federation is the amalgamation.
Yeah.
But Starfleet being the research and exploratory arm.
Oh, because they're out there, yeah.
So if Nikolai was not specifically a Starfleet officer, is he held to the Prime Directive? Well, everybody else around him might be like, you can't do that.
Jake, your thoughts?
That's I had that same thought when I was watching the episode, though I thought the Prime Directive was Federation and not Starfleet. But you found it on like Memory Alpha or something, so I'm not going to dispute that. But I had that same question. I also had a question about the mechanics of the holodeck. But we'll get there because it's a little early for that question. But I'm excited to pose this question to the group.
Is it a dimensional question? Because I think I know where you're going.
Yeah, it is.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Picard assures Nikolai that his career is over, but reluctantly agrees that under the circumstances, this suggested is the best course of action. However, Geordi is having a hard time keeping the holodeck running because of the plasmodic interference caused damage to the Enterprise while in the planet's orbit. The holodeck imaging processor has been severely destabilized, and to fix it, all the holodecks would have to be shut down and the entire system reinitialized. Picard doesn't trust Nikolai to be alone with the Balarans in the holodeck, so Worf joins Nikolai as a seer with supernatural powers to explain the glitches in the holodeck power systems. Worf is furious. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I see this. I'm just kind of like, oh, look, it's the magical Negro trope. Thanks.
Oh, okay.
Worf is furious at Nikolai and says that he has not changed and still expects other people to clean up the mess he creates. Data and Beverly search for a new planet for the Balarans. They choose VAC 6 in the Cabral sector, which is 42 hours away at max warp. And so what is max warp now? Is it 5?
Warp 9.
But we can't go that fast.
But this is the episode where Picard says, screw that, we're going that fast. Just tell Starfleet we're going that fast.
Yeah.
And then it's never mentioned again, so it's warp 9.
Issues arise when one of the Balarans discovers the exit from the holodeck. It's so silly. It's so silly, but I do love when people discover exits in the holodeck.
And this is my mechanics question. This is my dimensional question. Because Worf is like, or his brother, I don't remember who says it, but like, go that way to go find your lost teddy bear. And the rest of us are going this way. How far away was that other thing? Probably miles and miles. We're going this way, miles and miles, in this 1,000 square foot room.
I have an answer, kind of.
I was going to say, doesn't the floor move?
Yeah, isn't the floor a treadmill?
Yes.
But both opposite directions and how are the people looking back not going to see him on this treadmill, even though the immediate surroundings of him? Yeah, do they drop a curtain or something like
the
that?
Holodeck's already having issues. The Holodeck's already having issues. So we could just chalk it up to that.
Yeah, we're straining the holodeck. That's it.
It's running at max capacity.
Don't touch anything. Everything's fine. You're going to break.
We're at max capacity for the holodeck. Just don't start up the Moriarty program because God knows we would be.
Oh my God.
I just want to point out, Rob, that if there was anyone on the ship that has to pretend to be a prophet of some kind, Worf is gonna be it, because he's the one that seeks out the monks of Borath, and he's the one that has this spiritual connection to Kahless and
probably
all of that.
So character in the show.
Clever. Are there any Catholics aboard the Enterprise?
Not anymore.
We don't really see religion on the show.
I think they do.
The Bajorans, aren't the Bajorans pretty religious?
Right. No, but you don't really see Bajorans for another series.
Sure.
They explore
Ro,
with them wholeheartedly.
When Ro is on the ship, though, she does talk about the religious significance of the earring and that.
True.
And Uhura in the original series mentions this species that worships the sun, and then she's like, but really it was the Son of God. And that's that's the tag. I don't remember what episode it is, but she definitely brings that into bear.
It's not that there wouldn't be religion in the 24th century. It's just that we don't see it. It's not the overwhelming, overarching thing you see on the show.
Well, and it was one of Roddenberry's rules that humans can't have religion. Everyone else is welcome to it, but humans, we've evolved beyond it.
I just don't ever see that happening. So Vorin,
It's happened for some of us.
yeah, but everybody else, good luck. We got to go through a World War III and a eugenics war before we even get that far. So he stumbles out of the holodeck and finds himself in 10 forward. Deanna calms him down, but Beverly can't wipe his memory because his neurophysiology is unique. So Worf realizes that Nikolai has feelings for Dobara, a Balaran amongst the group, and Dobara reveals that she is pregnant and wants Worf to make things right with Nikolai. Meanwhile, Picard asks Vorin not to rejoin his people, and if he plans on revealing the truth to them, or don't rejoin them if you're going to just tell them that this is all fakey. And Vorin is obviously upset. So the Enterprise reaches the destination planet and the Balarans are transported down in their sleep again. Vorin commits ritual suicide and Nikolai decides to stay with Dobara. Yikes!
That was a strange turn for me.
Yikes on bikes.
You know.
I disagree only because he was the myth maker. He was the historian. He was the fact keeper of their culture. And that the position he was placed in was at complete odds with his role in their society. So what do you do?
Oh, everything I've been teaching and being told is a lie, or
yeah,
it's not a lie, but it's missing.
But it will
context.
be from now on. It will be a lie.
Yeah.
And
here's a question: do they not have map makers? Does nobody ever keep track of where the hunting grounds are, or any of this stuff that's all of a sudden not the same?
Gonna go ahead and say no.
Just wondering.
Primitive.
They are very primitive. Penny Johnson Gerald, who plays Dobara, minor character on this episode, but goes on to play a main character in The Orville, the Star Trek-inspired Seth MacFarlane show.
She appears in another series later also. In another Star Trek series.
She shows up in DS9.
Mm-hmm. She's recurrent on that show.
Mm-hmm.
Same, different character, though.
Different character.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I just realized something. Or I just remembered something. I didn't know this literally until earlier this year. She and I went to the same high school.
What? Same time?
She graduated a couple of years before me, or a few years before me. But I was kind of going through like famous people from Baltimore, and I'm like, oh, and I'm going through. I'm like, really? Mm-hmm. We went to the same high school. We went to the same school.
Have I don't know if I've posed this question before. Who's the most famous person from your high schools? Kerry's the most famous person from his high school.
Yes.
I would argue in Utah, it's Lavelle Edwards. Outside of Utah, it's WWE wrestler Tamina.
Oh.
She's had action figures made, so, you know.
That's fair.
Football stadium, action figures, I think.
Mine is Karl Rove.
Karl Rove, Turd Blossom himself, huh?
Yeah, and then me, probably. Rob, I think he's researching.
I'm desperately researching. I mean, she's one of the top. We've got a few, if I'm not mistaken.
Now, I'd just like to point out that this whole premise of keeping the primitives in the dark with holodeck technology, isn't that Star Trek Insurrection as well? Kind of.
Oh, John Warnock went to my high school. Co-founder of Adobe Systems.
Ugh. Evil went to your school.
Well, hey, I went there too.
Like I said.
Matthew Weiner, who created Mad Men.
Oh. Wow.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Amanda Lipitz, Tony Award-winning Broadway producer, former vice president of media at HBO, and Penny Johnson Gerald.
Whoa, Mark Hoffman, a document forger and murderer.
That is a fascinating story if you don't know that story.
Oh, yeah. You need to look that one up, Rebecca. What's the Netflix special?
Well, apparently he was a below-average student at my high school, but had many hobbies, including stage magic, electronics, chemistry, and stamp and coin collecting.
And he'd need all of that for the...
Yep. all of that comes into play.
Wow, what's that Netflix documentary, Jake? Do you remember?
Murder Among the Mormons. Is that what it's
that
called?
it?
Oh,
Yeah.
I watched this.
Yeah. That was the guy.
So yeah, pure evil coming out of my high school.
I told you.
Wow. Okay.
But
wow.
is it as evil as violating the Prime Directive, leading to a dude's self-inflicted death?
Nikolai.
So is he throwing himself on the sword, though? I mean, he realizes that he poses a danger to his own people at this point.
Could you live with the knowledge? So hypothetically, you meet aliens, and aliens expose you to the grand truth of the universe, and you are expected to go back among your people, and you can't say a word. Can you live with that?
I would go with the aliens, I think. I mean, he was given the chance to go, and he said no.
And we've seen that before as well.
Yes.
And I'm also disappointed that their physiology is too strange for us to remap their memories. You've done it for how many other races just in
not
Next
these
Generation
guys
alone?
Sarjenka, who is dramatically different than these folks. I also love the fact that Worf traded one head of ridges for another head of ridges.
Yeah.
Can't we just let the man act with nothing on his face? Come on, just get out there now.
No, we get to do that once, Carrie.
Yes,
we get to do that once.
When?
DS9.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Oh yes.
Of course, it was nice to see Mira Sorvino's dad in this. That was nice.
I was gonna ask, is that Mira Sorvino's daddy?
Yes, I know this. Because I've had a crush on Mira for quite a while. Me and Quentin Tarantino.
My headcanon about this guy, Nikolai, is he had this whole like gender reveal planned to tell Worf that he's going to be an uncle, and he's going to come up and be like, doesn't Alexander want a cousin? Come on, Worf.
Instead, Prime Directive.
But it's kind of also the Spock-Cybok relationship as well.
A little bit.
In
absolutely.
the way that you've got the very straight-laced brother and the one who's like, I had to play a little fast and loose here, but it's for the greater good.
Brothers. It looks like we've got some issues with brothers within Star Trek. Isn't that the case?
I guess that's why I love Star Trek so much.
I've never met a brother who likes his brother.
You will on Deep Space Nine.
I think that Thomas and Will begrudgingly like each other.
They're not brothers. They're not brothers though.
That's a gray area, Rebecca.
Sure.
Did you do the trivia for this episode? I don't remember if you did the trivia.
It was just Penny, how she goes on to star in the Orville. But I don't have any other. Do you have others?
I don't think so for this one specifically. I did reference this episode a little bit in one of the short stories that was published in that anthology.
Oh, really?
Yeah, talking about Worf at the Academy and mentioning his brother.
I did have to Google. I was like, they keep saying it's his brother. We have seen his brother, his Klingon brother, and I'm like, so whom is this man? And so then I had to Google it, and I was like, oh, the Rozhenko's human brother.
Family tree thing, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
and he had been mentioned earlier, like in season 3 or 4, probably when his parents were on the ship.
You're expecting me to remember a passing reference?
Yeah, no. But one thing I did want to say just about this batch of 4 episodes that we watched today. Yeah. These 4, for whatever reason, this batch of 4 becomes hugely significant in all of the rest of Star Trek. There are elements from these 4 episodes specifically that come back throughout the entire rest of the franchise up to the present day.
Yeah.
Wild.
Can you say that about some upcoming episodes?
Well, there is one that is the most talked about episode of Next Generation for probably not the best reasons.
Oh, I hate it so much.
It's coming up next on the list.
Yeah. So next episode, we're going to be talking about Sub Rosa, Lower Decks, Thine Own Self, and Masks. And I have watched Sub Rosa. yucky. Just a yucky episode.
She's messy.
She is. One thing about Beverly Crusher, she is messy.
And apparently all the Howard women, but we'll talk about that next time.
Well...
And yes, of course, like Lower Decks also obviously has a huge impact on the future of Star Trek.
Yes.
And I am so excited to talk about Lower Decks. I really, really enjoyed that episode. I am bummed. We are in season 7, the final season, and shows are starting to get pretty good. But
don't think of it as getting to the end of the series and things are starting to get good. Think of it as they're cooking now so that we get really good stuff coming up. Now, with that, I will offer the disclaimer because I know that you're going to call me on this one. Like the first season and a half of DS9.
Oh boy.
Not great.
I love a show where you have to power through the first 2 seasons.
Though there are some real jewels in that first season.
Like the premiere is... Well,
there are, but there's also some dogs in there too.
For sure.
As a huge DS9 fan, I can go, they ain't great.
Yeah, DS9 is my favorite of the series. Of all of them.
As it should be.
All of them, yeah. Rebecca, there will be an episode that will get you through season 1. Given your affection for the Troy women, there is an episode in season 1
that yes,
will get you through.
That's right.
Baby. Well, cool. Looking forward to it, as always. Once again, thank you, everybody, for joining us on this very normal episode of TV Show in Space. We'll see you again. Jake, you're coming back, yes?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, cool. Right on. Well, as they say, we're gonna keep going to that place, and other people have been there, but we're going there too. So thank you. Bye bye.